got one last.
Yeah.
Before during the election, what was your position on the Twin Pad Arena, and has it changed at all? And has the Bill Antler and the passionate thought about, well, what is going to happen in West Ferris, the real West Ferris, not the Omichel one? What's going to be happening in that part of the community?
So my answer during the election was political. It was North Bay needs new arenas or new rinks. And for me, it was wondering, okay, how is this going to be paid for? Is this the right design? Is it going to meet the needs? How are we going to be communicating throughout the process to make sure that people understand what's happening? How can we increase communication? And so my answer was, if we're going to go with this design, let's make sure that we do it the best we can, that we've learned from past mistakes and projects that we've worked on at the city. Or if we need to, let's go back and scale back the design if we need to make sure that it meets the costs. And then over the past year and a bit now of being on council, being able to hear more from staff and get those details on what it is, where this came from over the past 12 years plus. It's like, okay, I understand. And there's been a lot of work done at the Omichel Sports Complex for it to exist there. And, based on this other funding that we're getting from the federal government, we can get good bang for our buck if we build there. Now, for me, and I don't want to speak for my other councillors, but it doesn't mean that I want to see the West Ferris Centennial Community Center bulldozed. By no means, I don't want to see that happen, but what else can it serve for? Could it be a community center? Could it be indoor facilities? What could we do to make sure that there is still central community space for the West Ferris community? And I think Bill provided a lot of great history on where that community center started and where it has come to, and a lot of passion.
So supplemental.
Yeah.
Sorry. Why couldn't we have discussed that earlier and before? Because what you have now is an RFP out there for a scaled down, bare bones, hoping it's not more than 60 million comeback quotes, because I'm not sure what you're going to do when that happens. Why couldn't we discuss that and make a plan for West Ferris before, so people would be feeling like they're not getting left out?
It's a good question. From my understanding, there were discussions back when there were arena committees that were trying to decide on a location, and they were throwing around Memorial Gardens, the current West Ferris site, and whether it be the Omichel area as well. And there was also concerns about removing that green space and touching that green space behind the West Ferris Arena. And there were previous council thoughts on making that housing, and there was pushback. And so based on the scale of wanting to have two rinks, that space didn't necessarily service based on its size and the need for parking and everything else. Now, there is always those site condition assessments, and there have been identified issues with the dressing room roof, not the barrel roof. And at this point, it's, do we keep putting money into one rink when to have two rinks in one arena doesn't costs less than having individual rinks everywhere? Having more rinks in one building saves us money and costs and whatnot. So there was lots of debate with previous councils, and they
chickened out.
Yeah, I know.
What happened? Yeah, I was there for it all, and I covered
were there,
it.
yes.
Yeah, so I bet you, and this will be the final word, because it was great answers. I appreciate you coming in and letting us know a little bit more. And if there was one more thing that you needed us to know, you have a chance to say that after this, just for the budget process. But we're coming out with this show 2 weeks later, so I'm not sure how the timing goes. if they would have surveyed the people in West Ferris, said, hey, you want to trade some of this green space for a second rink so we can make an efficient twin pad here and we can find something else for, the soccer? Is that a good trade rather than what happened before is they certainly didn't want another subdivision in there, right? But nobody ever went back to them and said, hey, what about a second twin pad and make this a really cool community center? That's all I'm going to say about the matter, right?